All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. It is time for Nightcap Knowledge.
Tune in every Tuesday at 9 p.m. for Nightcap Knowledge. Put the children to bed, get your adult beverage, and get ready. Nightcap Knowledge is rated Black and Uncensored and hosted by longtime community organizer and entertainment professionals, Mr. Mac and DJ George Chuck. Real talk, real issues, real solutions. Nightcap Knowledge on Facebook, IG, and Twitter. Tune in and share.
Y'all heard it, man. You know what time it is. It's time for Nightcap Knowledge.
Black with No Chaser.
You heard it. We are live on Black with No Chaser Facebook Live. That is all the way live on Black with No Chaser. We know what time it is, and we want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors out there.
Cups and so much more. I got it made. I got it made.us.
Mac is out getting his ice for his nightcap. We got the music rolling right now, so we're going to make sure that everybody gets a chance to get on in the room. Thank you. If you're out there right now, we need you to make sure that you get in the comments, share this right now. And I got a little something that I want to do for all of our cheerleaders, our Girl Scout representatives. You know, cheerleaders are doing all-star cheer competition. So I want to give a shout out to my wife and Cheers On Athletics. And the Harrison Central High School cheerleaders, right? They've got some fundraisers out there. I got my coupon book, and it's the Save Around Town app. So my wife get me hooked up with that. But you know, like Girl Scouts like a little mafia, man. Look, you know them Girl Scouts like a little mafia. And I want to give a shout out to all of the Girl Scouts out there, the Girl Scout mafia, making sure that they know that the Nightcap Knowledge Show appreciates them. And, if you're out there right now, you're in the comments, or you have a Girl Scout and you can get in the comments and y'all got the little order link. This is 2021 and we are, practicing social distancing. So, order your Girl Scout cookies in a safe manner. And we're going to get into the show in just a few minutes. So vibe to this twerk track that we got. This is the new Nightcap Knowledge intro. It's that bounce. And it's DJ George Chuck with Mr. Mac. It is Nightcap Knowledge right here live on
Black with No Chaser.
Interested in showing off your pride for Black History Month at the gig? Collab with us on custom designs for your employee resource group. Reach out to shop at blackwithnochaser.com. That's blackwithnochaser.com. Shop at blackwithnochaser.com. We can get you hooked up with some cool stuff for Black History Month. You heard it right here first. That's Black History Month. Doing it at the job. Keeping it all the way real. Black with No Chaser. Get in the comments, share this right now. It's DJ George Chuck and Mr. Mac all the way live on your Facebook. It's about that time. Mac, what you got, bro?
Man, I got a little something special for tonight, brother. I want to remind everybody about the Nightcap Knowledge Show. This show is rated Black and Uncensored. It is real talk, real problems, and real solutions. And we are ready to get into it. And we start our show off like we do every night, talking about the nightcap. What do you have to drink, my brother?
Well, tonight, Mr. Mac, I am partaking in one of my favorite breweries. This is the Sweetwater 420 strain. This is the Harvest Ale. So it's like I would say that they dropped this around October, and it's a hoppy red. So a little on the pale ale side, kind of like the Boston red, or like the Boston lager red,
right?
But it's a good one, man. I this is my first time actually having it, but I can definitely taste the orange. So you can say it's kind of like a what's the one we put the orange? Blue Moon. So
Blue Moon. Okay.
Yeah. So you can taste the hint of orange in there, and then it's got a little spice to it. So it ain't the whiskey that we usually are on, but I know that you're not much of a beer drinker, but we like our spices. in our whiskey. So that's what I'm sipping on tonight. Sweetwater 420 strain, the Jack Herer Harvest Ale.
Okay.
What about you, man? What you got?
Well, so I reached to the back and I picked up a little something different. You know, we always talk about supporting. So we know our boy Diddy been rocking with Ciroc for a while.
I'm gonna have to get some of that, man.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's really kind of nice and smooth.
Yeah.
Something to go easy over ice is it pairs well with a probably a good cognac. I mean, not good cognac, but a Connecticut wrapper on a cigar, Connecticut wrap. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. You know, I taste a little bit of it. Try to make sure it was something. I had to get something that was befitting the occasion that's going to take place tomorrow. That kicked off tonight. I got my Black Voters Matter hoodie on. We got It's About Us in the background. We got you know, Justice, and then up top, it's another reason I got that jersey up. You know, we talked about brothers we lost at the beginning when we kicked off the show for this year. So we actually lost two more brothers. Brother Ricky Brown, North Mississippi. He passed, and then a brother that has been touched so many lives in Sigma internationally, and brother Kevin Lawrence, 34 years old, came through Alpha Beta in 07. He actually stayed on the coast for a while.
Is that right?
So brother Kevin transitioned, had a long fight with the enemy. When I say the enemy, the enemy, something that we all wish was a person so we could beat it up. And he transitioned for a long, hard fight with cancer. So we definitely pull one up for the bro tonight.
Well, I think my shirt fits. You know, it says Democrats ain't no check, Republicans ain't no check. Hold on, I'm gonna put my mic out the way.
Yeah,
there you go.
Gotcha. I got you.
Yeah,
man. Listen, I'll tell you one thing about it. No matter what the colors are, brotherhood is very important. And
it is.
Even though you come into an organization, man, you meet some people that touch so many folks.
That's right.
And it's so ironic as we get ready to come up on the memorial of our friend and frat Pete, who transitioned around this time last year. So big shout out to all those out there, man. We make sure we remember those who are no longer here with us. Continue to support, check on folks, make phone calls, see how people are doing. And salute. This one is the brother Kevin. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate Mac for bringing those brothers into the room. You know, at this point, I think it's a good thing for us to recognize our ancestors, all of those that have come before us, that have paved the way, that have done all of the things that have made it possible for you know, Mac and I and other folks that are on this platform, Black Men No Chaser, and with us, you know, running our businesses. We're doing these things live from our home. Right. And I would say it's a good time. It's always a good time. And we want to give a shout out to everybody that's out there checking in with us. Miss Delaney is out there. Hey, how you doing? Out in YouTube land. And we're bringing our ancestors into this virtual or this digital space. And you know, I want to shout out to our grandparents, our parents, our aunts, our uncles, our older fraternity brothers and sisters, our older alumni, those that have walked this path before us and made it possible for us to be where we are right now. And you know, Mac, you talk about the things that you got up on your wall. I need to build mine out a bit more, but you can see over my shoulder here, I got my plate that I ate out of at my grandmama's house until I was in college, man. Every time I came home, my grandma would fix me that plate right there. And you think about, you know, the lessons that you learned while you ate, or the knowledge that was passed on to you while you were nourished. You know, physically you were being nourished mentally and spiritually as well. So, you know, thank God, thank the universe, you know, thank your family for all of the things that they've done. And then you know the folks that are here with you right now. So your wife, your kids, your spouse, your husband, significant other, however you identify those folks that you care about, bring them we bringing everybody into the room, man. Because I'm thankful to be in 2021. I'm thankful to be able to, you know, walk to my garage and make these shirts that I make, and I'm Also thankful to be able to come in this office and sit here and discuss issues that matter to me and that matter to my friends, and to have solutions to these things, man. So look, Mac, I think it's about that time for you to get into that mental health minute. So what do you have for us tonight, man?
So we talked about, it's so ironic that we talked about grief, depression last week. And since a week time, we have lost two fraternity brothers. But something you hinted on just then, we talk about our ancestors, and this have a lot of people dealing with depression and anxiety and stress, is finding your purpose. Now, this might not be something that you will find laid out in DSM-5, but your purpose means a lot. And a lot of time our purpose, just like you said, draws from draws from my ancestors, draws from the people that raised us, that we're around, and it helps define who you are. When you have a purpose, then you don't waste a lot of time in life doing things that don't add to you. When you have a purpose, that's when you meet folks, you put that into their life. Sometimes you're in folks' life for a season, sometimes you're there for a lifetime, but the purpose of you being there and knowing your purpose means a lot. And so you have to identify that's a real thing. You could run from it, you could be lost from it, but knowing who you are and whose you are and what your purpose is in this society. And I tell everybody, your purpose is always going to be to serve others, but you have to know what hat you're going to be wearing in the process to do that. And some people deal in stress. They have so many problems. They suffer emotionally, they suffer mentally because they are fighting with themselves and the ancestors and the spiritual realm of running from their purpose. So you have to know who you are and utilize that. So when you just laid that out, we're talking about what's happening now, the inauguration, we're talking about what happened then, watching the stories on TV, watching the movies, seeing what's going on, and then talking to folks. My great uncle's 85 years old, right? So he started, when you just listen to regular stories that don't mean a lot to him, he just talk about life. Then you hear like what things they had to do and go through to do simple things, right? And then you think about in this day and time, how we are so truly blessed to have certain freedom, as we stated, that you have free feet, but enslaved minds. So we are definitely have to find our purpose, because we can't let those who made great sacrifices, like Dr. Martin Luther King, our brother Malcolm X, or any of those who have been affected, especially assassinated, Medgar Evers, anybody else that have, some people sacrificed their life, they did not die, but their life was never the same after they punished them. We have political prisoners still in prison right now.
Yeah, man.
Since before the Black Panther movement, and they're there just because they try to organize and make things better for their people. So we have to come to a realization of what kind of society we live in, and see things for what they really are. Draw from the strength and learn from the path that has been laid before us, and find out what do I supposed to do to help add to this. Quit complaining, quit all your whining and all that other shit. Find out what you're going to do. Don't talk about who's supposed to do what. What are you doing to add to building the legacy on the foundation that they built for us?
Yeah, man, you said a whole lot right there, man. You know, one of the things that
you killing me with these cookies.
Hey, well, look, man. Hey, we got a lot of folks out there that trying to hustle these cookies, man. So the thing is, the Girl Scouts are the connection to the future. So I mean,
they some hustlers. Hey, they some hustlers. We used to send money to Peoria, Illinois, just to get cookies from Jay Niece. I mean, from Jay Niece.
Yeah. So you think about this, man. I mean, we brought the ancestors into the room, right? Digital space. And we also want to bring, these young people that are out here right now building their entrepreneurial skills. So you talk about purpose. These young ladies are young girls. And look, I told them, I said, y'all better get in the I text all my Coast Deltas, right? I hit them in the group. I said, look, y'all need to get your link, put it in the comments. But what we're talking about is purpose. You put your kids into development or into developmental situations. And I think that, the Girl Scouts is one of those things. And they can hone their entrepreneurial skills. But you talk about, like the development for us, it may have been for me, like, all right, I'm gonna wake up with my dad, I'm gonna go to the woods and I'm finna hunt. Or it may have been getting up early on Saturday morning, or going, into the cemetery and saying, all right, I'm finna dig this grave, and then I'm gonna see my dad get paid. And then he's gonna tell me, well, you look, we got paid for opening the grave, we got paid for closing the grave, we got paid for putting the vault in the ground, and then the equipment around it, we got paid for that. Now we didn't pay for the equipment already. So the thing is, I'm looking at the same way. Like this young lady, give a shout out to Basie, who's the daughter of Aisha and Alex Harvey. She got a link, and the link is in the comments. So if you're trying to get some of them Girl Scout cookies, holla at my girl Basie. Basie got you. She gonna ship nationwide. She got local delivery for the Mississippi Gulf Coast. All right. So this mental health minute is brought to you by Basie and the Girl Scouts from the Mississippi Gulf Coast out of Long Beach, Gulfport, Harris County. I guess I don't know. They ain't pay for this, but that's a girl.
She gonna pay you in cookies.
Look, I'm gonna give you some shortbread, right?
Shortbread.
Yeah. But you think about, man, what the ancestors did for us, and what we are tasked with. And you talk about purpose. All right, what's our purpose now? Our purpose now is to make sure that we're pouring into young people, no matter the age. It may be young in age, or it might be young in mind. Because like I may be young in certain areas, you're gonna pour into me, and vice versa. So that's what I'm trying to do tonight. That's what we're all about tonight. We said we was going to talk about MLK Day activities, like a recap. We said we're going to get into the inauguration.
Right.
We got our Girl Scout cookies that are in the comments right now. You see that link right there. So we appreciate Basie's mom, Aisha Arvin Harvey. And look, it's all good. It's all love. And the other thing, I want to give a shout out to all of the HBCU graduates that are moving into the White House very, very soon. That's what I'm talking about. Not to say that we weren't there before, but I mean, like, it's got a different funk to it right now. And like it's got that
it's purposely known now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like that it's being broadcast, it's being highly recognized. And that's one of the important reasons why I'm wearing this sweater right now. It's talking about Black Voters Matter, to show the importance of Black voters that came and stepped up to the plate. And I've seen a lot of negative conversation, folks about, oh, well, this many Black folks voted for Trump. We're not worried about that. We're worried about how many 500-some thousand brothers and sisters that were able to get their voting rights back. You know what I'm saying? So to be able to participate in this, first-time voters. Folks that they've been misled, like somebody as famous as Snoop that didn't know he could vote because he'd been to jail, right? Or so that's the thing that we talk about, is educating us with solutions, practical answers. I think someone talked about D. Mees, who was telling me practicality is it's underrated.
Yeah.
Keep it very simple of things that we can do, and let's have conversation and dialogue. Like I told one of the frats, I said, hey man, I'm 40. All my conversation, 85% of it is going to be about health and wealth.
Yeah.
And it's going to be about something that's going to help develop us as a person, help my physical health, or we're going to be trying to figure out how to create money and sustain for our family and friends and community, right? So what we just talked about, man, is the voting, the inauguration, MLK. It is very, very important. And we have showed up and showed out. And HBCUs are finally getting the recognition because they are HBCUs because we could not attend predominantly white institutions, and that's why it had to be created.
Well, I would say, not to cut you off too much, keep that thought, but think about it like this: it's not that we couldn't keep up in the classroom; it's that they did not want us there.
Right. That's the whole purpose. Yeah. Oh, that's evident. The issue is I remember this episode of Good Times where Michael had to take an IQ test.
Mm-hmm.
The IQ test was based on culture that was not familiar to him.
Yeah.
So you're gonna always get it wrong, no matter how smart you are, right? So that's one of the things that we deal with now is something that's not based on our norm, and you got to figure it out and answer those questions. You're like, I don't know what that is, but you have to answer the question. You get the question wrong, so you might not get the sentence fragment or how the sentence runs wrong, but you might not understand the word that's used because you never heard it. You see what I'm saying? And this is what our children would deal with in school, depending on where they're going and what they're used to.
Yeah. Instead of playing logic games, they play culture games.
Play culture games. So I did a paper in my working on my master's called Culture versus Policy. And it's still relevant to this day. They make policies and laws, look at our culture norms, and they make policy and laws against them, right? And they make the stuff that you have to pass, meet the criteria based on their culture norms. So when you're not familiar with that culture norm, that's why a lot of us, when we see success, now think about this psychologically, Chuck, we assimilate to more of the Eurocentric culture because that has been deemed to seem what success looks like.
Acceptable. Yeah.
Right. And so you easily go and start doing it because you can do that when you are walking and talking and sounding. That means you're more acceptable into certain rooms, but also you're thinking similar to that, so you can pass these tests and it makes sense to you.
Yeah. But one of the things that your comment makes me think about is when people point out accents, and I'm thinking that that might be what some of the smart people call microaggressions.
Mm-hmm.
So meaning that, all right, oh, you have an accent. Where are you from?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what the hell my accent got to do with what I'm telling you right now? Like, can you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Am I delivering them in a coherent manner? Do they relate to the topic at hand? Like those are the things that matter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you want to ask me where I'm from because I got an accent,
right?
Motherfucker, I'm from the South,
right?
Like I'm in the Northeast, and I'm holding a conversation with you. But is it that you're so enamored, or is it that like you can't get past my particular dialect or my delivery, and it may not even be a dialect. It's really just the accent or the way the words sound coming out of our mouths because we're from the South and we have a particular way of delivering these things, or from a particular borough. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm gonna tell you and then we get back on topic. And what this is related to, right? The insult that's covered to be I guess a compliment. Well, you speak so well.
That bullshit.
It's like, what the fuck? It's almost like what did you see in your head? How did you see me speaking or delivering what I was about to say?
Right.
So it goes back to discrimination, systematic oppression, all the different things we talk about, why all this stuff is so important, why MLK Day is so important, why the inauguration tomorrow is so important, why being an educated, active voter is so important. And I always go back to several years ago in the state of Mississippi. I see now they're trying to put another bill out there for Mississippi about making abortion a felony, right? So if you participate in abortion as a felony. Senate, they had Proposition 26 on the ballot years ago. So you didn't go vote. They weren't campaigning. We see a lot of this information in the predominantly Black neighborhoods. In predominantly white neighborhoods, all the information about Proposition 26. So, when we start talking about the truth to be told, so they were going to have folks of conservative or racist background make decisions. Why? Because predominantly the abortion conversation came from European culture when little Sarah was out there at the barn with Jimmy, and they were doing whatever they were doing, and she went away for the summer, right? Mm-hmm. So this is a conversation that's sort of new to our culture, right? But it's back out there now. But 26 was so important is because it was on the ballot.
Yeah.
And our people had no idea. It was not a conversation at the dinner table. It was not anybody talking about it. They didn't know. And they didn't know intentionally. It was not broadcast intentionally for us to know. So it's very important for us in groups like ours to stay abreast of what's going on politically and what policy, so we can turn around and get on Nightcap Knowledge, Black with No Chaser, any other platform and say, hey, this is what's happening. This is why you need to know this, because they take things that are not normal to your culture, turn around, make it illegal. And I mean, they're normal to your culture, turn around, make it illegal. And then when you do it, you breaking the law. And that's on the table right now that they're talking about that.
Well,
right?
I would like to characterize it like this. Folks, those that are in positions of power take things that should be a part of the right to choose.
Correct.
Meaning that it is not illegal for me to choose to drink beer.
Right.
It is not illegal for people to choose to smoke a cigar.
Right.
But it is illegal to drink and drive.
Correct.
Because there is a chance that with the consumption of an alcoholic beverage that your vision, your motor capabilities can be impaired, right?
Correct.
I ain't got no problem with that. Now, you're saying that I can consume an alcoholic beverage by choice.
Right.
But in the event that a particular circumstance results in a pregnancy that could affect my health, whatever that circumstance was,
right,
it affects my health, but then I don't have the right to choose.
I got one better than that, Chuck.
Go ahead.
I got one that's real relevant. You just talked about the right. We have lost 400,000 people to the pandemic.
Hey, you can call that one a lob. I'm setting you up.
400,000, right?
I would look that. That would play action. I had them. I'm running the ball. You got the pass right now, man. Go.
You can't do this because that's a life.
That's a life.
But you won't make a mandate to make folks cover their face with a mask or not participate in certain gatherings because it's their freedom to choose.
Freedom to choose.
We're going to leave it upon the states to make the decision of what's best.
That's all we asking for.
And then the governor said, we're going to leave it upon the counties and municipalities to make the decision what's best. So you have the capability. And, all right, now go back to the same thing. Same thing we talk about medical marijuana. The same doctors and nurses that are going to be tasked with giving the vaccines,
right,
and testing folks are relevant and competent enough. But you're like, oh, well, we need to look over this medical marijuana thing. We need stronger supervision.
So they want supervision from the folks who got the current seat of power.
And so the thing about us when it comes to all this is what bothers me. And I tell folks, I don't get upset. I stay bothered all the time by just looking at
if you're just checking in with us, this is Nightcap Knowledge. We're doing like a recap, and we're talking about a number of issues. One of those, Proposition 26, the medical marijuana initiative that passed, but then we're talking inauguration. So tune in right now, share this with somebody that needs to hear this. And we're here in Mississippi, Max and Jackson. I'm on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, but we got people tuned in from all over America. Right here, right now, Nightcap Knowledge, and go get you some Girl Scout cookies too. We got links in the comments.
The thing that bothers me the most is the fear factor of us. No matter how much stuff that's happening in our community, no matter how we look at it and say we wish our people would do better, no matter how we see trash in our communities, we don't own nowhere near where we need to. We still pose a fear factor into their lives of thinking that we could get power and do something with it. Their greatest fear is not that President Joe Biden is being elected. The greatest fear is that for the first time, not only a woman, but a woman of color that's representing two nationalities is going to be in power. And when Joe Biden was running, he said he wasn't looking for a vice president. He's looking for the next president. That's the fear.
Hey. And then
that's your fear.
Hey, and that's what spurred the attack on the Capitol, the siege on the Capitol, the coup.
The coup. And a big shout
The
out
failed
to
coup. The failed
all that brother, that man, big shout out to him and all of those folks that actually stood up and did their job and never drew their gun. I thank the Lord for purpose and allowing us to know where we should be, because I know myself and a couple of my friends that wouldn't work well for us. I'm just speaking the truth. 70 people ain't gonna chase me nowhere. I'm just gonna say that. So I'm just very thankful for for knowing my lane and staying in it. Between the, as Chuck would say, the mustard and the mayonnaise, we're gonna stay in our lane.
Hey.
because yeah.
Yeah, definitely shout out to Officer Eugene Goodman, who was the Capitol Police officer who successfully led that.
He did a good job. He thought
he did his job. He thought on his feet.
He did.
Right? And he did just enough to keep those Al Crackers, Vanilla Ices, as Charlemagne would say. Look, that well, you know, it was the coin term came from Chris Rock, right? Chris Rock came up with that, but that Al Cracker and Vanilla Ices, boy, that shit, it cracked me up every time, man. But
hey,
I want to shout out and bring brother Eugene, Officer Eugene Goodman, into our conversation tonight and thank him for all that he did to keep everybody, you know, safe, because at the end of the day, he took a position to, you know, serve and protect, you know, as his purpose for being there day to day at the U.S. Capitol. The thing is, I mean, you know, the United States was founded on what, you know, they wanted freedom, correct? Religious freedom, right? And now, whatever they at that particular time included in that overarching term of, you know, religious freedom, that was on them. But here's the larger truth. Here's the larger truth. If you want your rights, I have my rights. But your rights at some particular point, if they start to infringe upon mine, then I have the right to defend mine.
That's 1996 amendment. Addendum
Come on,
made.
Come on, Charles Holmes.
It was, and that's the thing about it. You have the freedom of speech as long as your rights don't infringe upon my rights. Right. So that goes back to
that's the respect issue. Like, do you have respect for your fellow neighbor?
But see, and think about it is that goes back to when you talk about the sword cutting both ways. Just like spitting on someone, right? That's aggravated assault. Aggravated assault. In a pandemic, you choose purposely not to wear a mask. All right, I'm gonna use the laws that's on the book. Aggravated assault for spitting. You choose not to wear a mask. You choose to get in my face and spit toward me and talk toward me. So now, what a castle doctrine, stand your ground, I feel threatened. What do I have the right to do?
Defend myself.
Now, if I can't defend myself in that frame, but I have a cell phone or I'm walking in your neighborhood, all those quote unquote can be justifiable ways to defend yourself. I'm running away from you. All those are reasons to justifiable to defend yourself. But when you are actually doing something, we gonna talk about last year in the protests, before protesting with their children, like you or I will be doing, and you walk up and spit on their child.
Yeah, I'm finna give you them hands. Shout out to Them Hands University. You can get that right now at blackwithnochaser.com.
I don't even know my composure, to think about that, and as I worry, my daughter is 15. I worry about her because, her to go somewhere. When George Floyd was domestically killed, active domestic terrorism in front of our eyes, she got worried. She was worried about me. She texted me and worried about me.
She know her daddy.
Oh, well, she's you could just be doing nothing. Just doing nothing, you can fall victim to that.
Yeah.
And so I just, we have to understand about voting and voting for people for the capacity of the positions that they qualify for and understand the capacity of the position. We used to do we still do community speak forum educating people about laws and rights, because you need to know what's on the books already. Some of the stuff on the books need to be enforced. Some of the stuff on the books need to come off, and it needs to. We need to find something else that better fits our society in today's time, and it needs to reflect that. We got stuff on the books that they've been there since the 1800s because nobody's went through and purged the book. I bet you their ass go purge that damn voter roll.
Look, you know they're gonna get the voter roll.
They purge that, but you can't purge the old ass laws that's outdated that don't make sense, right? But we have to talk about the inauguration tomorrow. Is history making, and it's history making because people band together and was tired and fed up. And one of their greatest fears, I forgot the comment. I got to go back and find it with the made by Dr. Martin Luther King about what his work was doing to destabilize a nation. And because they have us put in a box as consumers, as workers, we put entertainment over education. We put all the stuff that matters, but they know our talents. They know what we can do, how strong we are, our resiliency. And if we just put the other things aside that distract us and start to focus on what means the most to us as a people, and allow our ancestors to live through us, and we can go back and start finding our purpose, that's the fear factor. What we're going to change, growing our own businesses, supporting our own businesses, holding up for our people.
Yeah.
If you come to Chuck House and start some food and we riding, we coming down 49 or where we need to come to. Just yesterday, we heard a shot over there near my neighbor house. I called my neighbor. You all right?
Well,
that's on the other street. We're just making sure.
Yeah.
Because we got to have that type of relationship with our folks and band together as a true village.
This is true.
And support each other.
This is true. And I'm getting a word from our producers that we have a special guest in the building. Give me a moment to make sure I'm hearing this right. We have an all-star, one of our celebrities, not a celebrity in chief, but a celebrity in blue. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats, chicken, dogs, and frogs. I want y'all to get ready to give it up for this person right now. This person is she is a celebrity in her own right. She's not local, she's legendary. I want y'all to give it up right now. I'm finna give y'all that bounce. Let's give that bounce. Give it up for Tanya Boyd Cannon, ladies and gentlemen.
Look at her, there she go. That blue and white. Happy belated Founders Day. She's still celebrating.
That girl that decorated the whole house.
Yeah.
Blue and white.
Look at that. Why you sold out?
Gotta be ready. This is left over from the blue. I mean, you can see some of it's over there. But
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm getting ready to do inauguration and getting my trying to get my music right, but also getting I got my t-shirt ready, about to get my chucks ready for tomorrow for Chucks and Pearls.
You got your pearls?
Oh yeah, she keeps pearls.
Don't get us started now. Don't get us started now, Chuck.
She keeps pearls, clutch them through sometimes.
Come on. We gotta get Tanya the applause for the pearls and the chucks.
That should go.
Shallon is gonna be wearing her pearls and chucks to school tomorrow. She has one of her cheerleaders doing a signing. So she won't be able to wear, like a t-shirt or anything, but she's gonna have pearls in her chucks. So she rocking them with you.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
It's history already with the election, and it's also history to make it tomorrow to witness it in 2021, a Black woman, to see another Black woman. I don't care what controversy says about her ethnicities and backgrounds. She's a Black sister.
Yeah.
We're happy to see not only HBCUs represented, but Divine Nine represented, and just her all over. I mean, she's just down to earth. Never met the sister, but just knowing how she posed on the Vogue magazine cover, she down to earth. She's down to earth all day. You can't
fake the funk.
Nah, look, it doesn't make any sense. Be you, everybody else is taken. That's all she could be. And I feel that she's going to, along with the president's wife, has an educational background, and then Kamala being the mother of not only Black children, but to witness what we have struggled so much in the educational system, and how our kids, I hate to use the word underserved, but it is what it is. Our kids have been forgotten about, our Black and brown kids. And it's time for our kids to be put first.
Yeah.
I heard Max say about the entertainment is always put first over education. And I wanted to kind of counter back and push back on it. It all depends on what type of entertainment. Because NFL is put first, NBA is put first, boxing is put first. But when it comes to the arts, that's pushed to the back.
Yeah.
So I
agree.
Not the entertainment that you learn from. And when
exactly. And I mean, the thing is this, you can learn from, the sport arena as well, because when it comes to basketball is a brother. Let's really go there, James.
Right. But
so you can always learn, but I feel that when it comes to the arts are always considered to be under the core subjects, when the arts have saved I don't know how many lives. And I continue to say to this day, when I'm working with my students as well as my adult artists that I work with, I've created a social SOULCIAL space for them to be able to be who they are and be vulnerable in order to get your audience to listen to your music and to get them to love who you are. You have to be true to who you are. So if you get on stage, I can't sing nothing about, congratulations. I thought it would have been me. Can't sing nothing about that. So I won't sing that because I've never attested to that. Yeah. So I just think like there are some things that when we're teaching, the arts can really save. And so, yeah.
Well, I think so let me make sure I had to make sure, because this is the first time anybody ever asked. When I say entertainment over education, we always looking for something to laugh, joke, and talk shit or gossip or foolishness, versus over something that's sustainable, that you learn from, that pours into you positively, and that we focus on that can help us. And me and Chuck, we've been doing so many different workshops and training, and we try to get folks but what's pushed down our throats from mainstream media, stuff that takes away from positive information, positive music, positive art, that's not mainstream. You have to go and have a mindset for that and have to go find it. It's not
here's the thing.
It's not put on the main platform and push like it needs to be.
But if you're in a community with kids who only know that, how do you meet them?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So you have to find a way to meet them where they are. And the problem is our kids have been like choked with, doing some things that don't make us look great. You know what I'm saying? So now it's time to find out where they are so they can understand that you can make $1 million without having to do this. You can do this without having to do this. Let me teach you how. You have a kid who could take some fire pictures of the back side. You know what I'm saying? The front side. So now let me take you and have you to look at things from a different perspective. And that one photo could sell millions. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what you got to do, is find out. Like, that's why the last thing we did for the Move to Vote, we did My Freedom, My Vote concert. We had local rap artists and local artists performing. So you got to bring folks to the table. And I know they had several programs that are going on around in Jackson, but we have to push. We have to make sure that, hey, this is what needed. This is what we need to be focusing on. This is what we need to be supporting, those artists and those folks that are trying to bridge the gap. That's why right now we are doing, for Mississippi Move, we are doing voter registration parties. So we're doing a party every once a month in each area. That's Jackson, Hattiesburg, and the coast, where you can come and have a good time, get some food. If you just registered to vote or you just moved, we've been doing that since we started, and since 2004. We tried to meet people where they are. We've seen a whole lot of shit going to the areas where our people are, but just because they do those things don't mean they don't have voting rights and they're not a citizen. So and you got to meet. And they said for y'all to be out here, that means that y'all really care about what y'all talking about. Y'all not just out here selling us some shit. Because I definitely would not be here.
Ain't nobody care about us but us.
I'm telling you. And you like, y'all good. So you like, it's some areas but that's what you have to do to let your people know that it don't matter where you come from. I want to show you that same talent that you have that you folks gonna try to pimp you with. Let me show you how you can use that same talent to be able to educate.
You know, it's crazy. It's crazy because I reach my kids. My kids are like, I don't care where I teach. The first thing they say is, "I like your tattoos." And exactly. So now I caught your eye. All right. Yeah. Like today I was putting my bike rack in my truck and a young man was walking up the side of the street. I said, "Hey, nephew." He said, "Hey, auntie, you need help with that bike rack?" I said, "I got it, my baby." Don't know the little boy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, helping him to understand you got villages.
Right.
Baba Ricky that live across the street couldn't get to his house, had to move a lawnmower. I told my son, I said, "I want you to help Baba Ricky. Let something go down the Lord 9th Ward. Let us have a second line, baby. He's gonna be out there with a tambourine. Oh no, Baba." They be like, "Baba." You know, so you have villagers all around. It's just making the young people understand that just because we may not know your name, you recognize either when you hear that drum, you hear that tambourine, you hear nephew, you good. I know I have somebody watching over me. So it's meeting our kids where they are, but also encouraging them where they are as well.
Yeah, I think it's it's like one of the things I like to say is like you respect the person's humanity, like at the very basic level. And a lot of folks that we come across that aren't necessarily skin folk, kinfolk, or otherwise, they have an issue with respecting the person's, or even not even respecting, like just recognize my humanity, and then let's get the respect. That, like, then I can show you the person that I am, and you can respect that, because in those two phrases that you just offered, "Hey nephew, you good?" "Hey nephew," one sentence,
right?
Good, second sentence, and he's like, "Shit, you need help?" And you done built the whole relationship just from that's 3 sentences,
right?
And then it don't cost nothing for that. So that's just like, all right, let's recognize humanity, and then after that, your first 2 or 3 little sentences can be let's respect each other's humanity right after that. So
there are 2 types of humans, right? You got humans being and human doings.
All right.
So the question is, all of us are human beings, right? Like you just respect the humanity. But human doings are you guys when y'all go out, move the vote. When you're talking, "Hey nephew, how you doing?" That's a human doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Every day you're doing something different to bring change, as well as to bring comfort to the community. Because the thing is this, you're gonna have anybody and everybody moving into your community. So if you say, gentrified, this, whatever, at the end of the day, we gotta find a way to work together. It's still gonna be our community at the end of the day. It's still our country at the end of the day. So now, as when I was hearing, I can't remember who it was on the Biden inaugural concert tonight, made a comment and was saying, basically, we just have to work together. We have to now. That witness, I want to say it was Auntie Maxine who said, "We're about to witness history in the making." And although things weren't working back then, now it's the time for us to show and take back over what we own.
Right.
It is what it's our community. We have humans doing. It's not gonna always work out the first time, but the goal is to keep on trying. History next door to me, Miss Leona. Miss Leona said all day, I said, once they finish, we've been waiting for them to finish working on our street since last year, right? 2020, our street has seen 2020. But we already said come this year, come the summer, we're doing a whole block party to get the lower 9th Ward to understand that Tennessee has always been the best street. But then at the same time, it don't mean we stop there. We're going to hit every block to let the community know that we are here and we're going to stand by our communities. So it's being human doings and getting out there and doing it.
I like that. I really do.
That sounds like a shirt, because just like our friend Juan Claude always talk about be a better human.
Yeah.
So when folks ask us about some of the stuff we fight for and we stand for, is human rights. Like I can't. I want you to treat me like a human. First, just treat me like I am a living being. I can't even get to the point of saying,
"How did I see you?
Huh?
How did I see you?"
And right. And that's what we got to get to. We got to get back to looking at that. But the thing is, we don't even see each other as humans. We see as objects, as things. So it's not realistic when we do what we do or say what we say to each other, because I don't see you as a person. And if I don't like me, if I have an issue with me, then I'm definitely going to have an issue with you. So I always talk about the transferring of negative energy, but it's a real thing, and it has become systematic that to look at a person automatically, This is when we talk about what happened at the Capitol. You look at one group of people and automatically you see innocence until they become guilty. You look at another group of people and you see guilty. Now, find some way to prove innocence, and then we still might not recognize your innocence. And we talk about the difference and why we must continue to build us and work together as us, because we still have a large system that we have to fight, and we can't be fighting two. And we've been talking about that for the longest, and it doesn't matter. I hate when people try to use socioeconomic status. When they start thinking about something that's bad, they try to show the lowest of us in the worst situation. Like these motherfuckers that make 6 figures and 7 figures ain't dirty. But that's what they try to make you. That's why they try to make it look. So it go back to psychologically playing games with you. Cause me and Chuck can tell you some story about folk that make all this money that look shiny. They some shiny ass turds now. They didn't shine this shit up real nice. Hey. But
I've been at the table with it.
Right. But you can Chuck can tell you when we hit that park, when we go down to Pittman Park, them brothers know who we are. And they show up. What you need me to do?
Yeah.
I sit down and talk to them.
Talking about no sigmas or no Qs. We talking about like the brothers that's out there that's living.
Yeah, they live out there.
Yeah.
And they're seeing everything under the sun. But it goes back to what you're saying is meeting how we're going to change things systematically, understanding policies, educating, using whatever thing is important. I tell anybody this. If you find whatever brother or sister that's in school, find out what they into and use that as a roadmap to help them learn whatever you want to learn. If you got a brother that's all in the cars, get him some car magazines.
Yeah.
Let him read them damn magazines. He like to tear down motors or he like to do body work, but it's going to take you to find out what they enjoy and what they like. When me working at a facility, man, listen, we started a step team. I'm tell you how bad this was. We had one guy who was claiming who was a gangster disciple, and another one who was a vice lord on the same step team, and he had to trust the other one to flip him. He had to do a flip. Like he had to, and they wouldn't even think, they would focus on the step, and we built a step show at the facility, and they got to put on a step show in front of everybody else. And everybody, the little girls, well, I saw you step, and they just feeling good about themselves.
And forgot about what the bad.
Forgot about they ain't supposed to like each other. They ain't supposed to be together. They supposed to be fighting.
That's beautiful.
But guess what happened? The system told us we got to work on real relationships. We can't be doing those things.
Look at your face.
It always takes somebody who.
Ooh, and that's why you talk about your file look like this, because you always saying something like, I ain't gonna do that. You know?
I'm telling you, like the thing is this. I tell people I've never been certified as an educator, but I've taught over 20 years, right? Mm-hmm. And I've taught. I taught.
Being a teacher is a gift.
Hello.
It is.
Taught in historic schools.
It's a big difference between certified and qualified.
Where Ruby Bridges went to school. I taught at Lockett, which was an all-black school. Pretty much all black schools, put it that way. Then I left and I went to the prison. And I worked in the prison and medical field and corrections and ended up teaching music in the prison. I still have former inmates to this day that reach out to me on social media. Some inmates that's still in there try to reach out to me on social media.
We ain't gonna talk about that.
I left the prison to come back in the classroom to prevent my babies from going into the system, right? Yeah. And so it's the same thing. I would get in there and I had babies who were considered unteachable, behaviorally challenged, delayed learning. Right. And so I would sit down and I said, baby, let me learn you something. And after I'm that teacher, you brace up to me. I'm gonna put you down like you think you're a man or a woman. That's just straight up. I'm that teacher. Yeah. And I've had parents who've come to me after and say, my kid has never had a teacher to say they care so much that he came home crying because you quit. And I didn't quit this. I didn't quit the kids. It was the system, because you had those people in there trying to tell me how to teach, and I'm not reaching or I'm not hitting a certain rigor because this kid. First of all, my baby, let me get to their emotion and learn what's going on with them. This baby had to go take care of 4 siblings, and not 4. Had to pick them up at school, get them home, feed them, then take a bath and try to do their homework, help them with homework, then go to bed and get back up and do the same thing. So you want to know how to reach a kid, you better ask a kid what's going on, because I guarantee you some of them children did seen more than an adult in their lifetime.
Right.
So it's always one. Exactly.
Oh man, listen. We had clients, and why we talking about voting is so important, and being involved as an adult is so important, because we help set the foundation for those children. Those policies, those systematic oppressions. Schoolhouse Jailhouse Project was born in Lexington, Mississippi in 1996, and we started talking about how the schoolhouse was a direct pipeline to sending out children to the jailhouse. And in 2004. The legislative conservative Republican white legislature tried to pass a bill called Senate Bill 2239, the ghetto bill, in which she stated we need strong language in this bill, which labeling kindergartners habitual offenders, because I know what it's like. I taught in those ghetto schools in Memphis. We named it the ghetto bill. You can Google it, right? So two of the white legislators who were senators and lawyers got into an argument. One told the other one to shut up, the other one got into a fight. Now, if you go back and watch last week now, after they reconvened, after the siege on the Capitol, when the guy was talking, you seen all the crowd start moving. They almost got into a fight. The polished up, six-figure making,
all of them
professional, established white males almost got into a fight over simple stuff, telling one person to be quiet. But our children can't do that. They can't do that.
But you always thirsty.
They can't do that. Listen, we used to have children who would start a fight 2 days before they was scheduled to discharge.
Yep.
So they sabotage their treatment, and so they couldn't leave.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because they didn't have.
Think about that. Why did they sabotage it? They didn't want to go. Exactly.
I had a young Mexican kid who cried, and he just did not want to leave. Because when you're showing, and that's why I tell about the streets, you got to deal with the children now, because the streets always want. And it's simple shit. The streets ain't doing nothing hard. Hey man, you hungry? Hey man, what kind of shoes are those? Man, you need some shoes? You need a coat? Simple shit. Your mama ain't ate. We had a little guy, man. He was 12 years old. He could steal anything that would nail down. I ain't gonna say ain't nailed down. He could steal and nail down. Anything, because he had to steal food to feed his younger siblings because his mom was hooked on drugs.
Yep.
This is, and why we advocate and fight so hard for policy change and things in our community, because I couldn't deal with it no more. You know, when you see these children are the ones that are being punished, or the ones that are locked away in the facility, and the parents are wherever they are, but the people that make the laws and policy that's supposed to create things to help them are focused on some other shit. So when you try to
stand up, we have to stand up against the what's the word?
That's mailman. That's mailman down there in the comments. That's your frat. That's your frat, Tanya. Mailman. Mail you. That's him. Oh, and the sister Deandra. That's an entrepreneur right there. She's the one that owns Hemp World. She owns 6 locations. Hemp World right there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We need to talk about that off air, Tanya. We talk about Hemp World off air. We need to tell you about that.
Oh, send me a package, sis.
She on Hemp World. Hey, we might need to make a Hemp World New Orleans. We ready?
All day. Look, we start down here. I was about to say we're so used to handouts, right? We've gotten so used to handouts.
It's a setup. It ain't even a handout. It's a setup.
Well, here's the thing. It's a handout if you don't realize it's a setup.
Correct.
You get what I'm saying? And so a lot of our parents, a lot of my former parents, they were so used to the sending lunch, breakfast, lunch, dinner home on Fridays, right? It's a system, it's a program, I forgot the name of it, but the kids would get a bag. And let's just say you have 3 kids in the house, you were gonna get 15 meals. Well, is it 3, 6, 3, 6, 9 meals for each child, right? For 3 days. So you're sending this bag home for these kids. They got breakfast, they have lunch, and they have dinner. On Monday, the kid comes back with the bag. They give the bag to the school refills it. So every Friday, this kid is getting a meal. Some of the parents had gotten so used to it that they didn't have to cook on the weekends, that they would be gone.
Just out.
Oh.
Gone.
Tanya, I'm gonna tell you how bad it got here in Jackson when the pandemic hit. Antron, Chuck's frat brother, our little brother from the movement, he started feeding students, and he put out there, and I said, Trump, we got you. We started donating to help feed students, right?
Yeah.
JPS later on started working with the city of Jackson, and they started delivering breakfast and meals. Do you know they had parents that was talking about, we got up out of it and came down here for this?
Baby, you better be grateful.
But you left your house,
right,
with your child to go pick up some food. I went to help deliver food boxes. I did that several times throughout, and I just listened as people that were older than us. So I need some older people on my side, because I'm really big about respecting my elders. But you wonder why 17, 18-year-olds and 25-year-olds act the way they act when you got 55-year-olds they ain't got no meat, they ain't got nothing but old vegetables. Now you got high blood pressure, diabetes, gout.
I have to get them together sometime too.
If you don't need the goddamn food, then don't come and get in the line, because somebody need it.
Somebody needs it. Somebody needs
it.
So used that again. We got so used to handouts that our level of handouts now is luxury.
Your handout is a kick in the ass. I mean, a handout is a kick in the face.
But we've gotten used to luxury, because if I went somewhere on the other side and got filet mignons and this and that, and I got to come back on my side and don't get this.
Hey,
this ain't worth it.
What they hand out the filet mignons?
hey,
I feel you. And for that, just checking in with us, this is Nightcap Knowledge. We're talking MLK Day recap. So we were talking service that we've done over the weekend and service that we've done over our lifetime. We're talking about the inauguration.
Yeah.
And the inauguration and what happens after the fact. So we're getting into policy. We're getting into the lived experience and how the things that we have encountered throughout our lifetime correlates to the next steps of what we need to aim for locally, statewide, and then federally. So we got not only, advocate for things and policies and legislation that benefit in our particular municipalities. We want to advocate for things at the federal level, but above all, hold our elected officials accountable, and then hold your damn neighbors accountable, because if they ain't doing their part, that means your community ain't doing your part. We in this together, and that goes back to what Martin Luther King Jr. Talked about in this beloved community. If we are the beloved community, then we're gonna take care of ours, and then we can greet each other as auntie, nephew, uncle, sister, brother,
Baba.
Come on, all of that. Because don't refer to me like that if you ain't gonna really do for me like that. So that's what we talking about.
Hey, the thing is, we just talked about is laying this out and educating folks about why it's so important to get involved, why it's important to get engaged,
right?
And about educating about voting. But I tell people this: the community sets the tone, right? So it's not about public officials.
Mm-hmm.
If we change our mindset and how we're going to handle things in our community and develop our leadership, and you run them for public office. See, the thing is, we so used to people coming and giving us a speech and making it sound good, and that's what we want, because they tell us that you ain't got to do anything. But we groom our own leadership. Actually, this year election is more important and affect us greater than the election that we had last year. Because this year is about municipality elections.
So look, along those lines, we got a question coming in from the comments. The question is from Wesley Engel. Do you think Trump could successfully build a third party? And a follow-up, do you think that could be a catalyst for other parties to knock down the two-party system? Now, I got my own opinion about this. I'll yield to you two. And then I'm gonna come in and I'll give my points after the fact. But if you have ideas, if you got comments on this, get in the comments right now. Type them down while Mac and Tanya give their thoughts on this particular question.
Well, I would say right now, this is gonna sound real country and Lexington. I ain't got my ass on Trump right now. I'm not worried about him. We worry about the wrong shit. We're about the mule going blind. I'm worried about how we're gonna build our community and what we're going to do for self. I mean, if you build a third party, we have a third party. We have the Freedom Democratic Party that we don't utilize. We have other independent party. We have Green Party. We have a lot of different parties. With his little deranged followers, yeah, he could build a policy. I mean, of course. But the thing about it is, what they take from the establishment that you have now. So we have to worry about local and what we're going to do, because there's certain communities like the Asian community that don't worry about who's elected because they have a strong economic system and a strong social system that they're not affected. They tell whatever political official in their area what needs to happen in their community. We can do the same if we focus more on entrepreneurship, supporting our own businesses, creating what we need in our community, utilizing those resources. So like charter schools, people don't like charter school, create a charter school and create the school that you need for your people. Yeah. Figure out what you need to do and let's do it together, and let's create the leadership that we need to see in public office. Okay. The leadership is supposed to be built like the Maslow hierarchy theory, right? It's supposed to be like the pyramid, built from the bottom up. We look at things from top down. That's not how it's work. Mm-hmm. If you need to, this year, municipalities, right? I sent Chuck, I don't know if Chuck got it, the link about the ballot for 2021. But it's municipalities, your mayor, your alderman or city council. Them the folks you see every day. Them the folks that you run into. Them the folks that create local legislation. Them the folks that say, hey, we're going to put a traffic stop right there on Ninth Ward, right off Tennessee Street. That's who's going to be the first person to set your ass up to the prisoner pipeline is your local elected officials. Them the folks that can prevent you from going to jail will be your local elected officials. That's where we got to refocus. Right? Why do I say this? Because I understand everything from political theory, every damn thing. I was blessed to have the best of both worlds. While at the same time I was working in hands-on doing community organizing, I was getting a degree in political science pre-law. So I was able to see what theory said, and I was able to see what culture said, and be able to put those two things together. Focusing on your municipality and building that from the community standpoint helps protect you, because then you move up to state. And when you move up to state, then you have more protection from anything else. But then you be able to create the representation you need that go from the state to represent you on the national level, instead of sit back waiting for somebody on the national level, like the dumbest that's did for the last 4 years. They allow a damn deranged person to be in charge and take leadership advice from them.
I like it when Max started cussing.
Oh, I wake up cussing. Hey, listen, my old director, the first thing he said, I used to come to those meetings, I was like, P, do. He was like, oh, you talk like a kid. I said, oh, okay. So then I went to the meetings next, and I told him, I said, it's harder for me to be quiet than it is to talk, right? So then I started talking, and then all the white folks in the room started turning pink. So and I'm one of those people, if I'm quiet, leave me alone. Yeah. But the thing is, because you don't really want to hear the truth. You want to hear what's politically correct.
Okay.
And the truth ain't politically correct.
Can I jump on that? Because I want to jump on the question that was asked. I've never dove into politics. That's been something I stay away from, because it's just too, it's too treacherous as well as too manipulative. I just stay away from it, because I focus on the truth. And when you show me who you are, I believe it. You asked the question about the party. Yes, I believe that guy started the party. I also believe that he's living in a fictitious world where he thinks that everyone is his friend and no one really is his friend. He's living in his own thoughts. He's not living in truth. And truth is different from honesty. I don't care what nobody says. So I focus on the truth. I don't want no honesty. I want the truth. And I piggyback on what you said, Mac. Yes, our community, we have all different parties. Yes, as Black people, we can thrive and be so successful, but we don't always want the truth. So we'll ride the train as long as it's being productive. But the minute one person comes on and give you a piece of truth, oh, you cock blocking, oh, you're crabbing the barrel. No, they may see something that can help you be successful. And I'm speaking from experience, because I've learned by some of my management team staff members who would come and say, hey, this person want to book you for this, whatever. And Tanya, you have to stop. I didn't want to hear it at first. But then when I saw where they were coming from, I had to grow up and be mature to hear their truth. So I believe that this guy can be productive in doing what he did. Look at what they did at the Capitol. That's common sense to show you that he has the goons behind him. But the question is, how many of them are really supportive of this catalyst that he's already created? We're not going to say if he started. He's already created one, and we've seen the works of the catalyst, and he hides his hands. So there's really no truth in really if he has a party, because everyone is pretty much doing what they want to do, but they're doing it all in the name of this guy. So
yeah,
listen.
Go ahead, man. I'm gonna jump in.
I got to tell you something that, and two things. One, my grandmother always said a person believes a lie before the truth anytime because the lie sound better. Minister Abram talked about the truth and a lie. He said truth was taking a bath in the river and took his clothes off. Lie came down the road, saw truth clothes laying on the rock, and decided he was going to play a trick on everybody in town. Lie put on truth clothes and went back to town. When truth got out of the river and saw that his clothes were missing, and he saw lie clothes laying on the ground, he knew what had happened, and he took off running to town. He said, ever since then, the naked truth had been chasing a well-dressed lie ever since then.
Yeah.
And we don't want to hear the naked truth. Again, like I say, this show is rated Black and Uncensored. We like politically correct. We like stuff that make us feel good. We like stuff that don't hurt our feelings. We like all the shit.
Fuck that.
I'm about to tell you about to die. I had somebody tell me and tell us when we started to fight the end obesity campaign in 2014, after me listening to a epidemiologist study talk about how fat Mississippi was, we started an interactive health fair in 2014, and someone told me we probably should change the name because it might offend somebody. You talking about the person that's dying with diabetes, high blood pressure, gout?
All we saying is you need to move.
And you say I should change the name from Fight the End Obesity because the word obesity offends this person that can't get up off the couch. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So look, let me jump in right here and give my feedback, my thoughts on Brother Wesley's question. The thing here's the first question: do you think Trump could successfully build a third party? Mac, you brought out the point that we've got the Green, we got the Independent, and then this conversation or this I guess you say my commentary that I'm offering makes me think about this show Designated Survivor, where an independent assumes the presidency because there was if I'm not mistaken, it was a domestic terrorist plot to basically kill the president, the vice president, the speaker of the house, and everybody that was in line. So the next person in line ended up being the Secretary of Housing and
right. HUD. Just call him HUD.
Yeah. Essentially, Herman Cain, bless his soul, even though he followed Donald Trump into his death, would essentially in this particular sitcom, drama, etc., whatever, would have become the president of the United States. Now, the folks that follow Trump right now, they used to be the Tea Party. We ain't heard nothing else about the Tea Party, right? Tea Party, I mean, it was all over the place. Tea Party everywhere. Now, so you're talking about a third party, man. We got subsets. We got it's just like what's my man name from the West Coast? Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah.
And you got the Rolling 64.
Right.
And then so you got these Crips, you got those Crips, you got these Bloods, you got them Bloods. Man, it's the same thing with these Democratic parties, these Republican parties, these independents, Green parties, Democratic Socialists, et cetera. Mac hit on the head. Tanya, you hit it on the head when you're talking about, all right, we got to put on for our community. We got to align ourselves with people who are going to push the agenda that directly addresses the issues that affect us. When you say, all right, well, look, Mr. Such and Such, we're a voting base. So if you want Tanya, Mac, and Chuck to talk about or even welcome you on the Nightcap Knowledge, and you want to talk about your platform, these are the issues that we're going to ask you about, and we need you to have a real plan. If your plan passes our litmus test, and then it goes through a second round of questions or a second round of tests, and you go through the gauntlet and you come out on the other side of the fire and you're proven, I think we might be able to cast our vote for you or even give an endorsement. But if you can't do that, ain't no entertainment. There's no response other than, hey, this is what we're asking. This is what we need from you. I don't give a damn about the party. Like, the two-party system has always been flawed. Like, their books, their papers, their all sorts of evidence that say that this particular system or our system of this quote unquote two-party system in these United States only propagates, this white male patriarchal white supremacist system. So when we push that out the way and we start to operate in ways where we go back to community and we go back to our best interest, then we're not even worried about the two-party system. We really get down to, all right, well, look, man, what they doing down there in New Orleans, what they doing up there in Jackson, what they doing over there in Gulfport. Let's see what they doing. Let's see if we can take a bit of that. And when they need us, we're gonna go down there. When somebody else need us, we're gonna go up there. And when we start to do all that, all the dots start to connect. And then the next thing you know, the politician that's meeting in the back room don't understand that the community folk been meeting in the front room of the house, the backyard of the barbecue, the yard of the college, and everybody's connected. And y'all can't pull no more wool over our eyes with this Democrat Republican. Nick, we rocking with the people. So throw your little Democrats and Republicans out the way and get with your brothers and your sisters, your unks and your aunties and your nephews and your nieces.
Start the truth party.
The thing what you just said describes the Freedom Democratic Party as they connect and relate the sisters that done so much work. We talk about Stacey. Hello, can you hear me, Chuck?
Yeah, I was saying I was bringing Fannie Lou Hamer into the.
Oh yeah. We talk about Fannie Lou Hamer, but we also relate to her to Stacey Abrams and how you had to go out there and prove to the white patriarchy that system that this is what we're going to do because you didn't take me seriously, right? So you go out here and you beat the streets and you start something that's meaningful, but that kept it simple. If you look at the principle of the Freedom Democratic Party and what it highlights and what it recognizes, tier needs.
I'm not sure. And we said material needs being met beats ideology.
Yeah, I understand what he's saying. Material needs, Maslow hierarchy theory. We have folks that we talk about. Well, one prime example we talked about last year, not last year. We're talking about 5G, right? 5G. They're pushing that 5G internet, right? I said, but we got folks that don't have running water and lights in the Delta. That's what we were talking about. Me and Stamps. We ain't talking about 5G. We can get everybody to have 2G, so they can use the internet. Because also I was helping at a clinic and we had folks that were getting on a van and driving for 2 hours.
That boy said 2G.
I'm telling you where I'm coming from.
We need that Andre 3 stacks.
Right.
We're talking about telehealth, right? So you got somebody that don't eat. They get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get on a van to come all the way to Jackson to see a cardiologist. And older folks don't believe in eating before they go to the doctor because they don't know if they got to have blood work. And you got folks sitting in your waiting room, sugar about to bottom out.
Right.
Because it could have been done differently, but they didn't have internet access. Yeah. So when you start talking about meeting materialistic basic things, you meeting the folks' need. Do everybody have the simplest thing that they need to survive in this day and age?
But that's
while we focus on
that's also, and I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I wholeheartedly agree. But the question is, how do we convince them that this is what they need? Because you have some that are stuck in their ways that don't want that or feel like I've been doing this long and it's working this long. So it's, again, meeting them where they are so they can understand why what you just said is important for you to have this done. You could have somebody come to your house and get it done faster than you having to get up and get on that bus. And now you're putting yourself at risk with no food in your system of dying. Ain't it? Mom, get it together, baby. I got something better. I don't want all that stuff in my house. I done seen what they say. So you get a lot of pushback with that. Yeah. So it's the education part again of teaching our community.
See, it goes back to, that was just an example. Right?
No, I agree. That's what I'm saying. I agree with you.
But they can't do it. Tanya can do it. Right? Tanya can do it. And then we talk about, so we just like when they had the census going on last year, and I was telling them, I said, look, if you had a set way of getting funds to the community, and this is before my uncle was in the accident, I said, my uncle know every part of Holmes County. Holmes County was in the top of the list of an area that was hard to count. I said, because if you're not from Holmes County, then you are not going to know these back roads and who live on these back roads. I said, but
ones that have street signs.
Oh man, it's a turn, and then you find 25 houses just happen to be down a dirt road, right?
I love it.
But it's the truth. But so I told them, if you're not dealing with folks on the ground here to be able to help you, and that's where you take somebody that understand technology, understand this, put them with somebody to understand the layout. They get together in a car, and they'll be able to go and meet the folks. You might not know the neighbors. One of the jobs I had with Southern Echo, what we used to do, we took several funders. I've taken funders from New York up to Lexington, and my uncle then took them out to a cotton field and let them shoot the 22 rifle. And they're like, oh my God, it's a cotton field and I shot a rifle. They just so excited because they want to get a true feel of what Mississippi was like in the Delta. So I took somebody that had been farming and driving and picking cotton all their life, ever since they were 16 years old. And for them, that was a story. He been, but that goes back again, folks that can connect the dots, that can sit at the different tables.
Yeah.
I can sit at the table and talk to you about this, but I also can go out here and get dirty and go out here with my people and not try to correct them when they mispronounce stuff or say anything and accept them for who they are. Because them are the folks that going to have your back when the sugar turned to shit. The folks that all dressed up and pretty ain't got your back. Yeah. Them cousins that go out there and do what they do, they got your back like 4 flats. Yeah. We got to be the folks. Our purpose is to bring those folks to the same table and make sure that we take their needs and get it into the ears of the folks that develop the policy and deal with the resources and the funds. And then we tell them how they need to carry themselves or whatever's going on, because folks are trying to trap you. We need to be able to tell them where the red lights are and tell them what the setups are. That falls on us. And that goes back to what I talked about earlier at the beginning with the Mental Health Minute, talking about our purpose, understanding how important the black vote is. If it wasn't important, you ever seen anybody steal anything that wasn't worth shit? Have you ever seen anybody steal anything that wasn't worth shit unless they stole it by accident? Well, they steal it because why they preventing us from trying to take care of what we need to take care of? Because they are afraid of what we might do and cut them out. So black votes matter. We need to participate in this inauguration. Chuck, are we doing inauguration watch party tomorrow?
I think that we can do inauguration watch party. I think one of the things that we can facilitate is potentially, and I don't know what the copyright the legalities may be, because here's the thing. If we rebroadcasting something, there has been legislation that has been passed that you restream something, and I wasn't thinking about that earlier. But if you restream something to a large public platform, something like what we're broadcasting on right now, and then this goes into the conversation that we're having about policy and legislation and all of that. That's a felony. So
that's
here's
the
thing. We on this show in previous episodes, the music that we were playing is what? Tanya, Dollar Black,
Tricky,
Alvin
Garrett, all the people we know personally that they gave us permission to do.
Send us an email and say, hey, you can play this, or add this to your repertoire. Now, because Facebook has filed infractions on me personally.
Oh wow.
Like, hey, this violates AWAL copyright such and such and such. And then, I take my little blurb that comes from my attorney that lets them know that I've, consulted with somebody that knows what they're talking about, and I send it back, and then they'll, rescind that infraction. But in terms of the back office of Facebook, there's a file on George Chuck Patterson, DJ George Chuck, Black with No Chaser, etc., Nightcap Knowledge, all of that. Now, most people don't understand that. So I don't want to say that we're going to push something out, on Facebook. We get together and do something.
Can we do it on YouTube and just post the link on Facebook?
YouTube got the same regulations.
They do. Because YouTube is now under Google. So they're very strict.
All of them. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Which
goes back to what I talked to you about last year or year before last.
True.
Well, right? There are ways to get it done. That goes back to the education piece, right? There are ways, if you're with the PRO company, whoever it may be, there are ways of you being able to pull down the bylaws and rights as an artist.
Right.
Be able to use the material and content on your channel or what have you. So it's just really, again, it goes back to education, and that's that part of entertainment that we don't teach. We just want you to dance, sing, shake, do this, and make these little dollars while I sit back and stay living the fat life, right? So it's that piece, and as long as we continue to feel like we're stacking dollars and posting, stacks on stacks, we feel like we're really, making the money. But baby, you ain't making nothing. Like, let's just call it spade a spade. So I said that to say for the listeners, there are ways to go around it. If you, like, I'm with ASCAP, BMI, they're pretty lenient about it because Warner Brothers holds the mechanical license to a lot of content. Mm-hmm. And I've had them to reach out to me, and I go back and I show them. Like, they even tried to tell me I couldn't play my music. And I'm like, sweetie, I own this. I have the rights to this, right? I have my master's. And so it's just really being educated on that level.
Yeah.
Because social media is entertainment.
Yeah.
And what you just said is why are we talking about the platform that we can utilize for so much good and how you can create felonies. That's a whole nother conversation. Now, we talk about prison to pipeline is how now you blow your nose and you got a fucking felony. But it's not so much about jail time. It's so much as that you lose your fiduciary privileges. Depending on how they qualify the felony, you lose your voting rights. Right? You can't have a firearm. It's so many different things. But so you study
right too.
And they say, "Oh, we're gonna make this felony." So they ain't never changed the 13th Amendment. They just figured out different ways to qualify folks to go to prison and keep them enslaved in a certain matter of speaking. So because now folks that used to do stuff and got out of jail. Oh yeah, they went to jail. They went this. Okay, but now you getting folks with these felonies that disqualify them for so many things that they can just be able to take care of themselves.
That's right.
In life. And they intentionally do that. You don't know this until something happens to infringe upon your right until you study it. That's nothing hit the news, nothing came in the mail. You don't know, oh, this is qualified as a felony. And I'm gonna tell you how that works from being in community meetings and giving reports. They'll come in and tell folks, we made 25 felony arrests. And the community will be like, oh, y'all made 25 felony arrests? Oh, okay, that's great. Well, they ain't tell you that a felony could be that you miswrote a $600 check.
Mm-hmm.
So you hear felony and automatically you think the hardened criminal. Exactly. One of the funniest pictures I like was Snoop and Martha Stewart together. They said one person in this picture is a felon.
Right.
And you watch all the little racist white people that would say, oh, it's the rapper. Nope.
And it's her the whole time.
He went to jail, but he's not a felon.
Exactly. She's a felon.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's a felon. And she did less time than him, but she got a felon strike.
Yep.
So that's a whole nother conversation, but that directly affects us when we talk about black voting and educating folks. Because did Nashambi email you something about a restoration to help those get their voting rights back? She says she's going to email it to you directly so we could talk about it on a nightcap.
Oh shoot, I ain't seen them from Nisha May.
So that's part of our plan for this year around the election is not only just doing voter registration, but also helping those regain their rights back to be able to vote. And then focusing on the state of Mississippi, because I don't watch the movie Life anymore because life is real life for Mississippi. is 2 black men that was set up, put in prison for damn near all their life just because somebody lied and it was okay. The Scott sisters is living truth of that.
I think it's worldwide.
Well, I'm saying the Scott sisters is living truth of that. You know, but it was depicted in Mississippi. Life was the prison. They went to Parchment.
Hey, boo.
Where your glasses at, Tanya?
Sitting over there, they scratched. I'm good.
Oh man.
Look.
I just ordered some new glasses today.
You're right here.
And look, John said, babe, he said, stop squinting. I was like, I'm good. I was like this with the phone.
It was funny though. It was funny. I was like, yeah, she ain't got her glasses on.
She ain't got no glasses. She can't see. She can't see.
It's inside that Wendy. I mean, yeah. He said, babe, put your glasses on. I meditated earlier and I did yoga. So I'm just like so right now. And I put my glasses on, everything is like maximized. It was too quick. That's like because the light, and I'm just trying to, and I'm enjoying my drink and trying to, you know, keep my peace of mind, because again, I don't, when Mac was talking, you know, texting me, I was like, I don't, and I listen, politics is one thing I do not get into. Like, I don't debate about God. I don't even talk about politics, because people in their feelings, because of they feel like their truth has to be your truth.
Yeah.
I ain't got time for that. Like the Orange Pumpkin, that dude, he was wrong. He needs to serve time.
Yes.
He basically created treason, because we're gonna call it what it was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's treason. That's treason. All day.
We're not looking at that reality of it. And you know, it's just like we was talking about the Saints game. I call a spade a spade. I know people love Drew. Drew, go Chaz down. You know, it is what it is. You lost our game.
Come on.
Have a good retirement. Because I keep it straight for even talking to Drew face to face. I had a conversation with him and he was almost nervous to talk to me. I just really want to know who you are. I ain't asking nothing about a game. I'm asking how your children doing.
But it was uncomfortable because he knows.
It was uncomfortable. And so it goes to, you know, when talking about, you said something, Mac, about energy. I'm big on that. I'm big on people's energy. I watch, I listen. And I share, and I tell people, I haven't even told my testimony of our COVID situation we went through in my household. But throughout that whole quarantine, I've been 19 days quarantine. We tested negative on the 13th, and I'm still staying away from people, right? But it's just the fact that throughout all of this time, I've had time to just really sit still and listen. I'm still sitting still to listen what's going on in the world. And I'm like, in every prayer and in every meditation is God protect our world, bring a covering of healing, like peace of mind.
Yeah.
In some ways, restoration, but in some other ways, I don't want restoration, because when you bring certain restoration back, you bring some old habits back. So I want newness. You know what I'm saying? I want renewed my spirits, right? Yeah. And so I when it comes to that, because John, he talks about, he listens, he's into politics. I'm not, because it's just too dis-ease, you know, it's dis-easing or is easing for me, and I can't have that in my energy. So even listening to you, it's too much.
Yeah.
But you know what I just said earlier before you got on? I tell people all the time, it's a difference between people say I can't get into politics. I said, you're born into this world, you're born into politics. Somebody else gonna make a decision about your life. The best thing you can do is try to be abreast of what they're talking about. Don't mean you got to run for public office. You ain't got to argue with folks, but you need to know what's on the ballot. You need to know who's running for office. You need to know all those important things, because somebody's going to make a decision for you, whether you participate in the process or not.
And see, I'm that citizen that comes back and I ask them straight to the point, what's the purpose of this?
Right.
Let me call you. I calls them on the phone. Let's talk.
You got to.
Because I want to know I'm talking about our mayor, to our police chief, to our councilwoman. I could call them right now. If I have a problem, I'm just that. Don't call Tanya. I'm not confrontational, but I'm gonna give you my truth. I'm not saying you have to listen to everything I'm saying, but if I'm a testimony of working with the community and the kids, and you've seen the proof of it, I ain't making this shit up.
Right.
So if I tell you I need funding,
right.
I need funding.
Yeah.
You can get $53 a day to imprison a young black man in the state of Mississippi. $53 a day. The most CEOs at one time were making $20,000 a year. It costs about $20,000 a year to imprison someone. So we started talking about that we can't get an extra $10,000 to $15,000 to create programs in our community to prevent children from going to jail or help them with education, because that's how they base third grade prisons off third grade test scores. So if I can prevent them, and then our governor, past governor, the nephew of Carolyn Bryan, the one who lied on Emmett Till, put another stipulation in place in Mississippi with the second grade and third grade reading. So when you have those type of things in place, it's automatically setting you up for failure to go to prison. But we have to be involved. Brother James said he's running for Ward 5.
He says he's running for Ward 5. First, I'll know I'm turning my paperwork in the morning.
So I believe in being real. All right. So Brother Stokes is Ward 3. Brother, and I say Brother Tillman, who's a Sigma, is Ward 5.
Okay.
I tell anybody this: those men fought to get their position, and a lot of people say when they gonna retire and go home. They not. They old warriors.
Ain't gonna let nobody.
Only one way you gonna get them off the battlefield.
Talking about Charles Tillman?
Huh?
You talking about Charles Tillman?
Yes.
Okay.
Only one way you gonna get them off the battlefield. Beat them. And we have to beat them. And the only way you're gonna beat them is having that connection with the community. That's the only way you're gonna beat them. And the thing about it is they not fighting. You know what I'm saying? Like they might be ready to go. They just not gonna give in and give up.
Yeah, they just working.
They just there until somebody can come and beat them and send them home.
Well, look, we're getting ready to roll into a whole nother, like conversation around like local politics. Tanya, she hinted at it with having access or cultivating those lines of communication to where you can have access to your council person, your chief of police, your mayor, alderman, etc. I think what we may want to do for one of our next episodes is potentially get some of these local elected officials that are for the people. I know there's been, there's talk about, for instance, Moss Point. There's a Tougalooan that's running for mayor in Moss Point. And Moss Point has had a tumultuous, I would say, past 4 or 5 years.
Right.
One because of the dichotomy of the makeup of the city of Moss Point. Then you have, the mayor, current sitting mayor, who's a member of the Divine Nine, but his actions have landed him in a bunch of hot water. Yeah. So I think, like a local, maybe even us breaking down, all right, well, what is politics or what is the governmental makeup in New Orleans, Gulfport, Jackson, Lexington, like, what's the difference between a council person and a alderman? I don't know.
Yeah.
Things like that, because the one thing that I've learned in my tumultuous past 4 to 6 weeks is that I made some assumptions. My family has made some assumptions about people, and we thought that they knew certain things, and they did not know shit. They did not know nothing. And I'm talking about, not having the knowledge of invoking the privilege of counsel. And I mean, and you can say that you have the right to invoke the privilege of counsel in any situation. I ain't talking about just when you encounter the police and you're detained, but I'm talking about like, look, you in a business deal or somebody saying, I want to sell you this laptop for $500. Well, you know what? Let me go ask my cousin that know a lot about laptops. That's invoking counsel. So look, I think that we need to give some of these, potential elected officials their due diligence by us not welcoming them to the show per se, but educating people, the people that watch this, about what a council person does, what a mayor does, what an alderman does, and then some of those, like we did with the ballot, and that folks are running for stuff at the state level. Let's go through those positions that might be at the local level that folks that don't necessarily, circuit clerk, election commissioner, all of those things that we may not necessarily know about. So look, we may need to do this in segments, and we say, the next episode 21 through 26 or whatever is gonna go
breakdown of the city.
That is the breakdown of the city. I like that right there. We write that down.
Because our election started in April, right? So you got municipal election started in April, and folks starting paperwork in. And look, brother James, get out there and do the work, bro. We appreciate you for that's one thing I learned from Councilman Stamps, or now Representative Stamps. He always would thank people for just stepping up to the plate to run. He's like, that's a huge sacrifice to just step out and to just run for a position, regardless if you win or not. You sacrifice so much energy, so much everything.
Yeah.
But most people learn so much. People that did not win, when they come back and talk, they talk about how much they learned, because now they are purposely forced to get out and talk to perfect strangers.
Yeah.
And now they find out so much that they did not know before. And so that's one thing we talk about, is make sure that you get engaged with the community and know it's a big difference now to what folks want and what they need. And I think Tanya hints on that, and it's true. You can see what folks need all day.
Yeah.
But what they're gonna tell you, they're gonna tell you what they want. And you got to figure out a way how you meet both needs.
Yep. And all that they're really trying to do, they're trying to get to where the money resides.
All day.
Oh yeah. Simple stuff. We'll get back to simple stuff. Go, Tanya.
That ain't the bounce version. This is a little chill version.
Every time I listen to that, I'll be like, he needs to blow his nose.
Wow.
I'm not
There she go. She just started.
Well, look, we want to thank everybody for tuning in with us. This has been the Nightcap Knowledge Show. We're trying to get to where the money resides. That's TBC, the realest. I'm DJ George Chuck. We appreciate y'all for tuning in with us, and this has been your Nightcap Knowledge. We'll see y'all right here next week, 9:00 every Tuesday. Y'all tune in. It's Nightcap Knowledge, and we out. Y'all like that twerk?
I don't twerk no more. I never twerk.
I don't like that. I don't like it. I don't like. Hey, Chanel say good show. Brother Beasley, what's up, Q? I see you out there in the internet land. Yeah, hey, all the Tougalooans, y'all shout out to Brother Beasley. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. All our folks out there, they still watching with us. Brother Wesley, Sister DeAndrea, Sister Aisha, we appreciate you. Yeah, man, Nightcap Knowledge every Tuesday. Tune in 9 p.m. right here on Black with No Chaser. Nightcap Knowledge. Let's go. There you go.